Yesterday, I was told that I needed to find this Am I the A-hole post. And I opened up my Reddit today and I'm already tagged in it a few times. She says, Am I the a-hole for refusing full custody of my daughter after my husband asked for a divorce? Now, keep in mind, I have not read through this post. I just screenshot it and we're going to read through it together. So she says, I, a 31-year-old woman, have been with my husband, Alex, 33-year-old man, for 7 years, married for 4 years. Alex was really excited about the prospect of children from the beginning of our relationship. I was always on the fence. I've seen how hard single moms have it. I promised myself I'd never be in that position. Plus, I work as a software engineer. I love my career and I didn't want to give it up to be a mom. After Alex and I got married, those fears went away. We were very much in love. I felt safe with him. I told him my fears, and he said all the right things to make them vanish. So we tried for a baby and had our daughter Ramona 2 years after we got married. The pregnancy and first year with the baby was extremely hard on me. I had multiple health problems during and after the pregnancy that were life threatening and altered my body permanently. I was disabled and nearly died once in the 6 months after I gave birth. And during this time, my husband grew distant and became angry frequently when we'd speak. I spent a lot of time in and out of the hospital and was unable to work. So a lot of the baby care went to him during this time. It was all I could do to stay alive and get better, being separated from my daughter and husband so much. Eventually, I did get better enough to help more with the baby, but after I was discharged from the hospital, he barely spoke to me. I want to clarify early that at no time did I ever neglect our daughter if I was able to care for her. I leaned on him a lot during this period, but I was also fighting for my health and my life so that I could continue to be there for her. If I pushed myself too hard, I would have made it worse or be dead. We stayed in a state of limbo like this for a while. I was still in recovery, not back to 100% yet, but able to resume a somewhat normal life, and we shared more responsibility with Ramona. I tried talking to him many times over the next 6 months, but it was more of the same thing. He wouldn't speak to me, or he'd get angry at every little thing I did and insist I was making things up and blame me for somehow criticizing him. It was a constant deflection from whatever was bothering him. I got another job about 9 months after the pregnancy, and things seemed to improve for a while, or so I thought. Not long after Ramona's first birthday, Alex served me with divorce papers. He said he'd fallen out of love with me a long time ago and he was ready to start anew. I was in shock. Things had started to improve between us, but he explained that it was because he decided to leave and he felt less unhappy. It was a Saturday when this happened, so I made sure he was going to be home to care for Ramona for the weekend. Then I packed a bag and left until Sunday evening. I didn't say where I was going, and truthfully, I didn't really go anywhere but drive. I drove 2 states over. By the time I stopped, I needed to think. When I got back Sunday evening, he was pissed I'd left him alone with our daughter. He always seemed really put off anytime he had to care for her alone. This time was no exception. I sat down and carefully said, I will grant you a no contest divorce, but I am not accepting full custody of Ramona. If he was only pissed before, he was explosive now, and everything he hated about me finally came out. That I was a horrible mother, that I wasn't strong enough to even be a mother, that I was too weak to carry a child, and now I was abandoning her. I very calmly stated that I loved her dearly and I would not abandon her, that I would pay child support and visit her every other weekend, that I would be there for her any way I could. But I had been very clear with him when we got married that I would never be a single mom. He became borderline violent at this, grabbing things like he was going to throw them and screaming that I was ruining his life on purpose. I wasn't going to stick around to be talked to like this, so I went and checked on Ramona, gave her a kiss, then grabbed my bag and left again. A couple of days later, his mother texted me. He'd left Ramona with her for a few days, and she had some nasty things to say to me. that a mother should never leave her child, etc. I told her it wasn't her business and that her son doesn't get a free pass to restart his life because his wife nearly died when she was pregnant and he became resentful with the responsibilities. He's also blown up my phone asking me when I'm going to come back so you can take your daughter. I've only replied, I've told you what's going to happen here. I love my daughter immensely and I will be a provider for her. I will always support her, but I won't be her primary parent. So, am I the a hole? Oh my. Oh my. Like I said, I had not read through this until I read through this for this video. And basically, the premise is his wife appliance malfunctioned. It malfunctioned. It was supposed to behave one way, and it wasn't really suitable for what he thought. And it turned out she was actually human, and humans have these human experiences where not every human woman can actually go through pregnancy unscathed. At first, she didn't even know if she wanted to be a mother. So that was already kind of a slight glitch in her programming as a wife appliance. And then come to find out, she wasn't extra healthy as a wife appliance. And that made him resentful that he actually had to participate in parenting the child that he wanted. I also want to pause here and say, not all women want to be mothers. This woman said early on she would not be a single mother. Please listen to women. Stop trying to push women who speak clearly and push past those boundaries because things like this might happen. It might happen. And I always hold a caveat for, sometimes Reddits are works of fiction. I get that completely. But please know and understand that women are telling people, I do not want kids. And it is people's first inclination to push past those boundaries and say that this is what you were put here to do. You are put here to serve. You're put here to be an incubator. Please know and understand that this type of thing, this coercive type of behaviors from other people onto women, like all women are maternal or born to do this, it doesn't work, especially when women have the opportunities and financial capacity to just up and leave and have some independence outside of their husband. And this woman is not the a-hole. He asked for a divorce. She told him her terms. She said, I would support, and she is doing precisely what many men do anyway. Men do this. They're not demonized for it. Why? They're still they're still parents, but she's just flipping the script and she's saying, I'm going to be the weekend parent. And she's willingly paying child support. So I see nothing wrong with this. Sharoni protagonist says, have you looked into adoption? I wouldn't trust your husband with her. I'm sure you could find a nice family for her, better than bringing her up feeling unwanted. Red Coat Right says, yeah, for real, I'm impressed with OP's ability to recognize she wouldn't be a good mother. I think not enough people have that level of introspection, but damn, what a terrible situation for their daughter. Nobody is really thinking about this child. I mean, OP says her husband was borderline violent. Ahem, throwing stuff is violent, and then abandons her kid to his care. Jesus effing Christ. I Sell Awesome Patches says, sadly, so many victims of violence believe violence is only violence if someone gets caught and physically hurt by either flying objects or flying fists. If no one gets a cut or a bruise, it's just borderline violence in many people's definition. I say victims of violence because I genuinely feel I see way more victims with this view because it's part of the defense mechanism of protecting yourself if you've been through it and justifying that it was okay to stay because it was just possessions being damaged this time. This person says OP's husband is an absolute goblin, doesn't absolve OP in any way whatsoever when it comes to her daughter. In fact, it makes the fact that she's fine leaving her daughter with him exponentially worse. Kimmy says they are both her parents. He can care for his child. Why is it always the woman's responsibility to make up for men's incompetence? Controversial Anna says she's the a-hole who abandoned her daughter. So, okay. when husbands walk out and say that they're going to pay child support, are they a-holes? Like literally, this woman says she is going to care for her child. So what is the difference? What is the difference? At any rate, she is going to do what is mandated. She said that she's going to grant him a divorce, and this person says OP husband should fight this woman to the end. To the end of what? She's granting him a divorce, and she says she's going to care for the kid that he wanted. So I don't think that there should be a fight. But anyways, like I said in the beginning, not well, that's like I said in the beginning, I hadn't read through this, but people need to know and understand not every woman wants to be a mother, and not every woman is just going to all of a sudden become extra maternal simply because they had children. So keep that in mind. Join the conversation. Let me know what you think about this one. Don't forget to like, comment,